Okay, all right. I think my screen is visible. So today we will understand the remaining topic about Java inheritance. So yesterday we were discussing, I was just given an introduction about what inheritance, right? Whenever you hear the word inheritance, you should be remembering this word as well, which is reusability, right? So why we are using inheritance to simply achieve code reusability. Okay. So it is representing is a relationship in Java. Okay, when two classes are representing is a relationship, which is also called as the parent-child relationship. What is inheritance? Is representing is a relationship in Java, which is also known as parent-child relationship. Right. So these are the types of inheritance. You have single inheritance, multiple. Okay, we have discussed these two types in the yesterday session. Okay, and what is a single inheritance? When one class has only one parent, or when a class is extending to another class, single class, right? When one class extends another class, single inheritance, right? When one class has more than one parent class, so it is called as multiple inheritance, which is not possible in Java. So why it is not possible? Because there is an ambiguity. Because of what? Because of the diamond problem. We have discussed these things yesterday. Diamond problem. Okay. So today we will understand about the remaining types, which is the next type is hierarchical inheritance. Okay, what is this hierarchical inheritance? Okay. So it is just an inverse of multiple inheritance. Right? I can say that when one class serves as a superclass, when one class serves as a superclass or parent class or base class or more than one subclass or child class or derived class. It is called as hierarchical inheritance in Java. Hierarchical inheritance in Java. Right? So just remember this thing. Okay, if you take for example, if there is if you have one class, one parent class, and there are two child classes, right? So this is what the hierarchical inheritance. When you say there is a class A, when you say there is another class which is class B, right? And C class is the parent class for class A and class B. So this is representing the hierarchical. Okay, when class A is extending to class C, when class B is also extending to class C, this is called as what? Hierarchical inheritance. So this is the parent class, right? The parent class has two child classes. Two child classes. This is one child and this is another child. Or I can say that more than one child class. When one parent class has more than one child class, you call that as what? You call that as the hierarchical inheritance. So it can be any number of children. Okay, one parent can have any number of children. You can add another class here. Okay, you can another class can also extend to this. The parent class. So this can be class D. Okay, likewise, you can have n number of classes extending to one parent. No problem. There is not going to be any problem at all. So this topic is called as what? Hierarchical inheritance. Right? Simple example I can give it like, okay, I can take a class A. Okay, and I can take another class which is B. Okay, I can take another class is C. Right? So when my class B extends to A, okay, when the class C also extends to A, right? This class is also extending to A, this class C is also extending to A, which means for B and C, for the class B and C, A is the parent. For class B and C, right? A is going to be the parent. which is representing what? Which is representing hierarchical inheritance. So there will be no confusion here. For example, let us say that you have a method like void m1 method here. Okay. So when you create object for class C obj equal to new C. With the help of this reference variable, you can call the m1 method. How you can call the m1 method? So by using the dot operator obj dot m1. Right? Firstly, this m1 method will be the m1 method will be checked whether it is available in the class P or not. Okay, the control is going to check whether the m1 method is available inside the class C or not. Okay, it is not available inside the class C, right? Then it will use this extends keyword and it will go to the class A. It will identify that method and that method gets executed. Likewise, if you create an object for class B obj equal to new, right? So obj dot, again you want to call m1 method, right? So from the B class, okay, the m1 will be checked if the m1 method is available inside the class B or not. If it's not there inside the class B, then the control will be jumping to class A because there is an extends keyword, right? So it is going to find the m1 method inside the class. So this is going to get executed, right? So you can able to execute the m1 method from the B class as well as from the A class. Because of what inheritance? Because of hierarchical inheritance, and there is no confusion here from B class and from A class, and you don't see any confusion. There is no such confusion, right? So this is what hierarchical inheritance is. In one class, there's a superclass or parent class or base class for more than one subclass. You call it as what? You call it as the hierarchical inheritance. Is it possible or not possible in Java? Okay, it is possible in Java. Possible, right? And the fourth inheritance is, this is the third one, isn't it? Third one is hierarchical, and the fourth one is you have something like hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance. This is going to be a little interesting. The question about whether it is permitted or not permitted, that is secondary. What is a hybrid inheritance? The combination of above three inheritance. The combination of above three inheritance is called as hybrid inheritance. So what are these? What I am talking about? What I am saying? I am saying the combination of above three inheritance. So what are the above three inheritance? You have single, you have multiple, and you have what? You have hierarchical. Okay, if I combine this, single plus multiple plus and hierarchical, is going to give me what? These three, the combination of these three inheritance is going to give me an inheritance which is called as hybrid inheritance. Is it possible or not possible? The question is whether this is possible or not. That is the question. The answer I can give you, it is not possible. Okay, why it is not possible, I will tell you. Okay, let us understand these things diagrammatically. What is the what I said? Combination of single level, okay, and multiple plus hierarchical inheritance. So what is a single inheritance? Single inheritance is like two class having a relationship, is a relationship. So this is single. Okay, and the parent class can be A and the child class can be B. Because of using the extends keyword, yes, that is a relationship. So single done. So what is a multiple inheritance? What is a multiple inheritance? When one child has two parents. What is multiple? When one child has two parents. For example, let me take another class C here. Okay, this C class is independent class. For now, this is an independent class, right? But okay, I have another class and I'm taking it over here, which is what? Which is class D. Okay, so the D class is extending to D extends to B as well as D extends to C. Okay, So this is multiple inheritance, right? Extends, extends. Y extends, it is being represented like I class T getting extended to T comma C. Yesterday I was telling you that you cannot extend one class with more than one class. One child class cannot have two parent class. When you represent classes like this is what multiple inheritance, which is not at all possible in Java. It is not at all possible in Java. Right? This is not possible. This is not possible case. Not possible. Why not possible? We have discussed that actually because of diamond problem or ambiguity problem. There's a kind of confusion. Okay. And what is one more? One more is what? Hierarchical. Hierarchical can be like, okay, let us say that my D class is the parent to this parent to what? This is parent to two classes, E class as well as F class. Okay. Extends given. Yes. Right. If I just talk about this, this is the single inheritance. Single inheritance. Single, which is possible. Single is possible, but this single inheritance is combined with what? And it is combined with multiple inheritance. So these three combinations are talking about the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance, which is not possible. Okay? But if you take this combination, if you take this combination, if these three things are representing what? Hierarchical inheritance. One parent can have two children, okay, more than one children. There are hierarchical. So this is possible. But the question here is, so I have three combinations. One is single inheritance, which is completely possible. Okay. The second one is multiple inheritance, which is not possible. This is not possible. Okay. And the third one is what? Third one is you have hierarchical inheritance, which is possible. But what is happening here? What is happening here? So there is a culprit here. What is a culprit? Multiple inheritance is a culprit. It is being present in all these three combinations. It is part of these combinations. Multiple inheritance is coming as a part in all these three combinations. Okay. So when there is multiple inheritance, which is not possible, definitely it is going to break the remaining inheritance as well. Because it is a bad idea here. Multiple inheritance itself is a bad idea. If at least one thing is not working, definitely the code is going to throw another, no matter if the remaining code is perfect or not. So in any Java class, okay, if there is a bug, okay, if there is a bug in one of the lines, if there is a bug in one of the lines, definitely the remaining code is not going to work. This bug needs to get sorted out. This line needs to get sorted out, right? There cannot be any bug, and you cannot be like, okay, let us skip the bug and run the remaining code. That is not possible in programming language. So here, multiple inheritance is just like a culprit, even though it is getting combined with single as well as the hierarchical. Since the multiple inheritance itself is not possible, okay, the whole thing that I'm talking about, the whole thing that I'm talking about is what is hybrid inheritance, which is also not possible. Hybrid inheritance, which is not possible. It is not possible. You will see some examples. This is just the theoretical definition. Okay, this is just the theoretical definition. But how we are going to, what we call it as convert this into the Java example that we will see in a short period of time. Okay, for now, the hierarchical inheritance is not possible in Java. Not possible. Okay, why it is not possible? You have the direct answer here. It is not possible because there is what is not possible because of multiple inheritance. Is the part of hierarchical inheritance. right? The next one is we have the something like, okay, the fancy word, a kind of, cyclic inheritance in Java. Okay, whether it is possible or not possible, I can say that it is not possible in Java. It is not possible in Java. Okay, why it is not possible in Java? Okay, when one class is like, when one class serves as a super class or parent class or base class to itself. It is called as cyclic inheritance. What does it really mean? Let us say that I have a class A. Okay, I have a simple class. My name of the class is class A. Okay, if my class A is getting extends to A itself, my class is getting extending. This A class is getting extends to the A itself. So this is what we call it as the cyclic inheritance. It is just like, okay, you have a class A, so you can say it as a child class, right? So you are using an extends keyword. This class is getting extends to the class itself. Same class is getting extended to the same class itself. You are using the extends keyword, but to which class it is getting extended to the same class. Extending the class to the same class itself. From any perspective, okay, from the A perspective, you see the A as parent. From the A perspective, you see it is like this A class is behaving like a parent as well as it is behaving like a child. It is nonsense. It is not making any sense. You cannot have the same class getting extended to the same class itself. It's not even. It is completely ridiculous. Okay, it cannot happen, right? There is no advantage of extending the class to itself. There is no advantage. If you are extending class to another class, there are some advantages. What kind of advantages that we get? You can inherit the properties and behaviors of the parent class. So there is a concept of reusability. So yeah, there is no reusability. So it is just like, instead of doing this, you can just remove this. You can keep the class as the standalone class. When you do this, you will get compile time error. So it is not possible. Another thing is there, okay? Another thing is also called as a cyclic inheritance. For example, let us say that I have class A and I have the another class as B. I have two classes, so now they are good until they remain independent. Okay, if my class B is getting extended to class A, right? Still it is good. Still it is good. What if my class A extends to B? Now it is not good. So this code, it may look like okay, it is good, but actually it is not accepted in Java. The cyclic inheritance are blindly, they are not accepted. Why they are not accepted? We will understand this now. Okay. So this is the code. This is such a code. What you are doing? You have two classes. From the class B perspective, so this is the B class. From the class B perspective, A is the parent. Right? Since you are using the extends keyword, so it is like B is extending to A. B extends to A. From the B class perspective, A is the parent and B itself is the child and the parent. And if you look at the A class, this A class is also extending to B. From the A class perspective, okay, B is the child, B is the parent and A is the child. There is a cycle here. Extends. Okay, now this has become child, this has become parent. Okay, the concept of the purpose of the reusability is getting defeated here. There is no reusability here. If you want to reuse it, reusability will work only if one class is getting extended to another class. So there you can utilize the concept of the reusability. Right? So here there is no such reusability. If you want to reuse, okay, it is like you are depending upon the properties of A from class B. So depending upon the properties of A class from class A. From here, you're depending upon the properties of B from class A. If you want to depend on each other, why you want to take two classes? Take one common class and make all the properties and behaviors and place it in a single class. So that would actually work, isn't it? This is not making any sense at all, right? So the cyclic inheritance will not make any sense. That's why it is not possible in Java, because you are doing a kind of what you're doing. You are just playing with the inheritance concept, and which is not even possible. So what are the possibility scenario that you are, what are the things that are not possible? Multiple inheritance is not possible, hybrid is not possible, and cyclic is not possible, right? So your takeaway is you cannot extend a class. Class A cannot extend to B comma C. One child class cannot have two parents, not possible, because of diamond problem. So this is talking about the multiple inheritance. Okay. Second one is hybrid. Hybrid is like class A extends to B comma C, class B extends to C, and class E extends B, class F extends, right? So the combination of all the inheritance, combination of the single, multiple, multi-level, single, multiple, and hierarchical inheritance is not possible in Java. This combination is going to give you what hybrid. This is called as hybrid inheritance, which is not possible in Java. What is the last thing that is not possible? Cyclic. What is the cyclic? Cyclic is what? Class is getting extended to class itself. When the class A is extending to the class A itself, which is called as the cyclic inheritance. Or else when there is two classes dependent on each other, class A extends to B, okay, and class B extends to A. Extends to A. So they are talking about this. You see cyclic inheritance here. Okay, this is not possible. This one not possible. Right? We will see the program. So this is what the theory is. Cyclic inheritance is not possible in Java. What is the next one? We have last one, multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. So what is a multi-level inheritance? More than one level, I can say. So what do I mean by more than one level? You can say that when one class serves as a superclass for exactly one subclass. Wait, let me copy that from here. Okay, when one class serves as a superclass or parent class or base class for exactly one subclass or child class or derived class, okay, which is again base class to and so on. Okay, what does it really mean? Okay, so don't go by this definition. Okay, even this definition is a bit confusing, right? So the actual meaning can be visualized in the diagrammatical form. Okay, let me represent this diagrammatically. So this space is fine. Okay, I have three independent classes. Okay, I have class A. Let me say I have class B. Let me say I have class C. Okay, if my class E is extending to Let us say that my C class is getting extends to B. Extends to B. So what is here? Okay, you have the class C here, which is extending to B, right? So this is C, and this is what the C class, right? Which is extending to B. Okay, this is what single level inheritance. You see this, and you can say that okay, only one base class, I mean one derived class or one child class has only one parent. So this is single level, right? And when you do what? When you say class B is extending to A, and class B is getting extends to A, okay, there is another hierarchy here, right? So you have the A class here, right? So B is extending to A, right? So there is a relationship. B is extending to A, okay, and extends. Okay, this is another single level, right? So this is one single level, right? And this is one single level. If you combine two single levels, okay, this level is giving you what? The multi-level. When you find more than one single level, it is called as the multi-level inheritance. Is it possible in Java? Definitely it is possible in Java. A kind of ladder hierarchy. And you can keep extending to, right? So again, so class A, since you are not defining anything, definitely the compiler will extend your class to the object class. So you don't see these things visually, but these things are happening behind the scenes, right? So again, this A class is getting extended to what? Extend to the object class, which is there in the Java library, isn't it? There is an object class. This object class is part of what library? This object class is part of object library. And if you see, look at the level from here. Okay, this is the level. Right? C is extending to B is extending to A is extending to object. So this hierarchy is called as what? The multi-level inheritance. More than one single level if you see, then you call it as what? The multi-level inheritance. Is it possible or not possible? It is definitely possible in Java. Okay. Possibility. Right? So this is all about what? This is all about the Java inheritance. Okay, we have concluded all types of inheritance now. Right? Now let us see a small program. Let us see a small simple program. File new. I'm not saving this. Let us say that I have three classes. Okay, let us say I have class A, I have class B, okay, and I have class C. Okay, my A class has let me say I have a method like void m1 method. Okay, and my B class has one method which is void m2 method. Okay, my C class has one method which is like void m3 method. I am also taking the main method public static void main, from where you start, the execution begins, right? Main method is required to start seeing the execution, right? So what I'm doing here, I have three independent classes. I'm just making, right, my class B is extending to my class is extending to class B, my class B is extending to class A. If I ask you what kind of inheritance is this, by looking at this, you see a kind of hierarchy. C is extending to B is extending to A is extending to object, which means this is multi-level inheritance. It is following multi-level inheritance. That's why it is following multi-level inheritance, right? And inside my methods, I'm going to keep a simple statement, system.out.println. Okay, I just want to print something like a simple number 1. Okay, and I just want to print something like the 2 here. I want to print something like 3 here. 3 here. Okay. So now if I ask you, right, if I ask you a question like, okay, with let me bring this little bit down. Okay. If I ask a question which with respect to class C, how many methods are there? Okay, so I can say that so there is one method with class C. Since my class is extending to B, okay, inside B there is one method, 1 plus 1, 2, total 2 methods are there. Again, my B class is extended to class A, which has one method, 3 method. Again, my A class is extending to what? It extends to object class. So this, which is inside the Java library, which has 11 methods, right? So my class C has how many methods totally? My class C has total how many methods? 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3 plus 11, 14, right? And again, you should also include the main method. So there are 15 methods that is made available to the class, right? So what I'm trying to do here, what I want to do here, I want to do something like this. Now understand the execution flow with inheritance, right? So I just want to create an object for class C, C obj equal to new C, right? Object has been created for class C, right? Object has been created for class C. So with the help of this reference variable obj, right? Look at focus here. I have the reference variable obj. So this is now in my control. I have obj. With the help of obj, I can call how many methods from class C? Obj dot. Okay. I can call obj dot. I can call m3 method. So when I call m3 method, we know what will happen now. When I call m3 method on top of obj, right? First it will check, okay, the main thread will check the type of the reference variable. The main thread will check the type of reference variable, okay. Obj is the variable name. What is the type of this reference variable? This is obj, this is a variable name. So this is the type. What type? C type. This what type? C type, right? So the control will be the main thread will be very curious to find the which method, m3 method. Since the type is C, okay, it will try to find for the look for the m3 method in the current class, which is also called as the C class, right? So it has ideally found the m3 method. So what is an instruction? Okay, 3 will be displayed in the console. Okay, in the output you would find what? You would find 3 is getting displayed in the console. Right now, what I want to do, by with the help of obj, I want to call the m2 method, and again, okay, the main thread will come into the picture, right? Obj is what type? Obj is of what? C type. First, it will identify the type of obj, the C type, right? Okay, so within the current class, it will try to look for the m2 method, right? So m2 method is not available inside the class C. So with the help of, so what it will do, it will not worry, because there is an extends keyword, right? By using this extends keyword, it will jump to class B. It will find is there any m2 method in the class B. Yes, there is m2 method, right? What is the only instructions inside the m2 method? So 2 will be displayed in the console, right? Now next one, okay, with the help of obj, if I try to call the method m1, right? So obj is of C type. First, it will check in the current class. Then, by using extends keyword, it will jump to the parent class. Okay, it is not finding m1 method. By using extends keyword, it will jump to the grandparent class. Just found the m1 method. So 1 will be returned. So this is how the control is going to traverse, between the classes by using the extends keyword. By using the extends keyword, this is how the control is going to get traversed. Right? So by looking at this, I can say that with the help of obj reference variable, I can able to call the methods that are there in the class C, or there are methods that are there in the class parent class and the grandparent class. Right? When I create an object for the grandchild class, or when I create the object for the child class, right, I can able to call all the methods of the child class. I can able to call all the methods that are available in the parent class. I can also able to call all the methods that are available in the grandparent class. And also I can able to call all the methods that are available in what? Available in the object class, which is what? Super grandparent or great grandparent. Parent. Okay, that is a reusability, that is a reusability. So this is helping us to, so this is why we are creating a relationship by using the extends keyword, right? So when you do extends keyword, it is not just, it's not just you're extending, you're making a relationship. So it is giving the eligibility to call the, to inherit the properties and behaviors of the parent. Right? Let us do a small change. Okay, let us do a small change. I just want to remove the method. Okay, let us imagine there is no M2 method here. Let us imagine that there is no M3 method here. Right? Now I want to create object for class. Let me remove this also. I just want to create object for class B. Okay, B obj equal to, okay, obj dot, I want to call which method? I want to call the M1 method. This is what I want to do. Okay. Always remember, first it will look for the type. Obj is of what type? B type. Right? So the main thread will be curious enough to find the, we're calling obj.m1, right? So this m1 will be checked inside the B class. So this is the B type, isn't it? Directly it will jump to the B class. So there is no m1 method inside the B class. It will not worry, okay? There is no tension here. Right? We'll use the extends keyword and we'll try to find the m1 method in the A class. Since A is the parent of B. Just found it. Now this will get executed. Right? If it is there, that will get executed. If not, it will try to look for the parent classes. If it is not the parent classes, it will look for in the grandparent class. Even if it is not available in the grandparent class, then you will get an error. If I just remove this m1 here, if m1 is removed from here, okay, if I just call m1 method, right? So there is no m1 method here. Okay, but still the control will be traveling. The control will be traveling to check. Okay, there is a hope here. There is a hope. obj.m1. Okay, it will check. Okay, is there any m1 method? Okay, it is not there. It is not there. It is not there. Then error. Right. So this is how it will look up for the specific method in the through the hierarchy. Through the hierarchy, it will look for the specific method. So this is the conclusion about what? This is a conclusion about the multi-level inheritance. So now you see what happens when I try to bring the multiple inheritance concept. Let me remove all this. Okay, now I'm doing a small modification here. I'm doing a kind of I'm doing a small modification here. The modification is something like this. Okay, so my class is okay. This is, let me remove this. Okay, I have a class C. So let me place something like void m1 here. I want to place the same method void m1 here. You can take the same method names. This is not a duplicate because these methods are there in different classes. They are not duplicates. They are not considered as a duplicate. I'm saying what system.out.println. Okay, I'm giving a simple statement, right? Simple statement. System.out.println. Okay, I just want to display one. Okay, I just want to display. No. My class C is extending to B as well as to E. My class C is extending to B as well as E. This is definitely not possible because one child cannot have what? One child cannot have two parents. Right? 1 minute, guys. Hello. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is, so I have class A. My class A. Okay, let me remove this. Okay. So I have class C. My class C is extending to B as well as A. So B as well as A. right? So what I'm trying to do here is I'm creating an object for class C obj equal to new C. Okay? I want to call m1 method obj dot. Ideally, main thread will be created. Okay, main thread will try to get access to the main method, right? So it will just look at this instruction. Okay, right? So obj is here, right? Obj is of what type? Obj is of the C type. It will look for the m1 method inside the class C. Okay, m1 method is not available inside the class C. By using the extends keyword, right, it has to check either in class B or A. It has to check both the classes B as well as C. It has to check in B as well as C. For which method? For m1 method. But to its surprise, it has found m1 method inside the class B as well as it has found the m1 method inside the class, class A. Right? So to its surprise, it has found the m1 method in two classes. Right? So there is a confusion created. The main thread will be in a situation, will be an ambiguous situation. Which m1 method it has to execute? Either it has to execute this, or it has to execute this. Ambiguity is created. A confusion is created. A state of confusion is created. Right? This is the reason why. Okay, the multiple. This is the concept of multiple inheritance. This is the reason why multiple inheritance is not possible in Java because of the ambiguity situation. If you want to convert this to the diagram, okay, you have class C, right? You have class C, and your class C has two parents, B and A, right? So this is class C, okay, and this is class B, and this is class. Okay, your child, the child class has two parents. Two parents means it is not even possible. Two parents. Right? So by default, each and every parent is getting extended to what? Object class. You are not specifying anything. This is object class. This is object. This is extended to object class. So this object class is the parent for both B as well as C. But this B and B as well as A. But this B and A are parents towards C. Looks like a diamond, isn't it? This is called as what? The diamond problem. So you have M1 method here. You also have M1 method here. You are calling M1 method by using the reference variable C. Using the C reference variable, you want to call M1 method. The control will, the main thread will have a great confusion, right? Which M1 method you want to call? This one or this one? It cannot look in the both sides. You cannot do this. Even though you do this, so there are two M1 methods which needs to get executed. That's why this is the topic of multiple inheritance, which is not possible in Java. Right? Cyclic we have understood. Hybrid is nothing but the combination of single level, multiple as well as the hierarchical inheritance. Okay, now let me remove this. Let's clear the code base. Now another scenario. Another scenario is like, let us say that my class C is extending to, my class C is extending to class A. Okay. My class B is also extending to class A. Look at this case step. Class C is extending to A, class B is extending to A, C is also extending to A. Right? So I am placing one method inside the A class. Provide M1 method. System.out.println, and here I want to display a simple statement like one. Okay. Wherever you take, okay, if you just create an object for class B, okay, B obj equal to new B. Obj equal to new B. The help of obj you want to call M1, you can directly call, no issues, because obj is of what type? Obj is of the B type. Okay, the main thread will jump into the B class and it will identify for M1 method. M1 method is not that in the B class, so it will use the extends keyword and it will look into the A class. You are being very specific. You are just asking the control to check inside only one parent class, A class. M1 method is there, so this is going to get executed, successfully executed. Likewise, when you create an object for the class C, C obj one equal to new C, right? You are saying obj1 dot m1. Again, the same thing. obj1 is of what type? C type. So the main thread will jump to the C class and it will try to find for m1 method. M1 method is not there inside the C class. It uses extends keyword and it jumps to the class A. M1 method has been found, right? This is going to get executed with no issues. This can be converted like this. You have class A, you have class B, you have class C here, right? This is A, this is B, and this is C, right? And your class B is extending to A, and your class C is also extending to A. Okay, one parent has two children. There is no confusion here, right? There is one common method is M1 method here. Okay, from B class, if you want to call, you can call, no issues. From B class, if you want, you can call execute, right? From A class, if you want to call, you can call. There is no confusion, no ambiguity here, right? From the C class also you can call. From B class also you can call independently. No ambiguity here. This is called as what? Hierarchical inheritance. So you always, think about making use of properties and behaviors of the parent class. That's it. Nothing else, right? And we know what is cyclic. Cyclic itself is not possible, right? So what would be my code base? Okay, in the real-time examples, what would be the actual code base? Okay, if you do single, without inheritance and with inheritance. Okay, I will give you the small analogy. The analogy is like, okay, without inheritance. Okay, without inheritance, okay, if you take a class, like I have a class like, let us say that housing loan. Okay, my housing loan class has, let me say that there are 400 methods. I have 400 business methods, business logic inside the housing loan. Inside the housing loan class. So I have another class which is called as the personal loan. So my personal loan class also has how many methods? 400 methods. Okay. And I have another class like car loan class, which has also another 400 methods. I don't know about the inheritance topic. Okay, what will be the problem inside the code base? Right? Totally, I have 1200 methods. How many methods I have? 1200 methods. In each class, I have 400. If I just calculate it, totally I have 1400 methods. Right? If I am giving this piece of code to my manager, okay, my manager has asked me to create 3 classes and create some business methods in each and every class. I have developed so many lines of code, and I have given this code base to my manager. My manager says, do you know inheritance or not? He asked me whether do you know inheritance. I said I don't know the inheritance. He said me, Balaji, there are 400 methods in each and every class, but from these 400 methods, 300 methods are common methods in each and every class. So there are 300 common methods here. There are 300 common methods here. There are 300 common methods here. I have just duplicated it. Every loan, okay, when you take any loan, so some business methods will be common. Finding the interest rate is going to be common. Term, okay, finding the rate of interest with respect to term is going to be common. The data that you pass may be different, right? But the business logics are going to be common, right? So it has been identified that okay, there are 300 methods or common methods among all these classes. Okay, with inheritance, how much code I can say? How many lines of code I can write? With how many methods I can write? What he said, he's asked me to create a common method like common method is common class like loan class. All the 300 common methods are placed inside this loan class. Right? And okay, I have housing loan, right? I have H loan. Okay, I have what? I have the personal loan. Okay, I have the car loan. The generalized, I mean, the common methods or the generalized methods are placed in under one class, which is the loan class. Standard common methods are taken here. Okay, so I'm going to use the extends keyword, extends loan, extends loan. Okay, every class, every independent class is going to extend to the loan class. This is also going to extend to the loan class. Right? So I will place the specific methods, 100 methods. 100 methods are very specific to housing loan, and 100 methods are very specific to personal loan. 100 methods are very specific to car loan. Car loan. Right? Since I'm using extends keyword, I can reuse the remaining 300 methods from the parent class, which is what loan class. If you count number of methods, okay, my number of methods has been reduced from 1200 to how many methods? 600 methods. My code base is going to get reduced because I can reuse the common methods. Okay, these 300 methods are very common for all these loan applications or for all these loan entities. I can just reuse this method by using the concept of inheritance. That's why we often call the inheritance with a single word, which is called as what? Reusable. There will be some areas when you develop a real-time application, there will be many areas where you are forced to use the inheritance concept because of the reusability purpose. Using the existing functionalities or using the existing properties, you will see those things. You'll see those things. Right? So by now I can conclude that this is all about what? Inheritance. Okay, this is more than enough to understand the next topic, which is we call it as the polymorphism. There is a concept of typecasting, and after that we will start polymorphism, then abstraction and interface. So Java will be over 95% of code, 90% of code Java will be over. I will start project. In parallel, I will cover strings collections. Okay, at the time of project, by the time of explaining, doing the project, we will cover the strings and collections parallel. Right. So that's all from my side for the day.